Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. You'll see I've done my hair since my last video. Okay, so today I want to talk about hyperpigmentation, because anyone that's been following me for a while will know that that is an issue that I have dealt with for quite a long time. And I've probably been lucky in other respects. I haven't really had any major skin issues. A little bit of combination skin, but then most of the population has that. When I was younger, my T-zone was very oily and I used to get blackheads, and I've got these thread veins as a result of trying to remove them. This one by hand. This one was actually more recent due to a product that was totally unsuitable and too strong. And the thing with those is that you just basically either have to get them injected or just cover them up. But apart from that, as I said, this is about hyperpigmentation. Now, I've got a few risk factors for hyperpigmentation. And before I start this, I want to just reiterate that I'm not a skincare expert, and I don't claim to be a skincare expert. What this video is about is telling you the sort of things that I've tried, what I think might have worked for me, what I think probably didn't work for me, and also to talk to you a little bit about makeup. So I might have to put this into two parts. We'll see how we get on. But it's more about my perspective of having it and what I've tried. But I do recommend that you definitely have a look at Dr. Sam Bunting's videos, because she is a dermatologist, and she not only explains products, she not only advises you on products that will work, but she explains the ingredients in them and why they work, which I find incredibly useful, because it means that you're not just stuck to those particular products, or that she's sponsored by those products, or she's just regurgitating what the company says about those products, but she's actually explaining to you why those particular ingredients work, which can kind of free you up as well, and maybe go for something a little less expensive with that ingredient in it. So I definitely recommend, and I will put a link below to one of her videos on hyperpigmentation. She's the expert. I'm not. I don't claim to be. I'm just telling you from the perspective of someone that's had hyperpigmentation and stuff that I've read. Okay? So with all that disclaimer out of the way, so my hyperpigmentation, one of the risk factors is having Mediterranean type Asian skin. Now, you probably know that I'm half Indian. My dad is Indian from Fiji. And one of the things is that people with Asian skin, they are very, very good at protecting themselves from burning. They don't burn very much. And I've only actually ever burnt once in my life, which was when I was in Greece. The temperature was really high, in the high 30s. And I had a very low factor sunscreen, and I got in the pool, and the pool bounced the sunlight back up, and I got burnt on my shoulders. And it was like middle of the August, low factor sunscreen in the pool, everything you shouldn't do. So we're very good at protecting. We've got very good mechanisms for melanin production. And melanin is, I'm talking now from what I've discovered. I'm not an expert, but melanin is the stuff that can protect your skin from getting damaged in the sun. And the same process is that sometimes we can be too good at protecting our skin. Another thing is that a lot of people who've got Asian skin, whatever, got very low vitamin D levels, which I did, because we're very good at protecting ourselves from the sun, which means that we don't actually get enough vitamin D from it, and I have to take supplements. So that's one factor. The other factor is hormonal. And you've probably heard of something called the mask of pregnancy. I definitely experienced the mask of pregnancy. I always had a little bit of hyperpigmentation, but mine definitely got worse. during my pregnancy and never really went away afterwards. So I noticed it definitely got worse during that time. And that is something to do, again, I only know a little bit about this, but from what I can gather, it's to do with the estrogen surge in your body and the way that the melanocytes react to that. And sometimes they can just go a little bit haywire and they're not even, and that causes this kind of mask. So when you've got melasma, as they call it, which is a certain type of hyperpigmentation, there's all sorts of different types of hyperpigmentation. And again, please watch Dr. Sam Bunting's video, because she's really, really good at, I will put the link below. She's really good at explaining why what the different types of hyperpigmentation are. Okay, but if you notice kind of this mask around this area, around here, under the cheeks, this is probably likely to be a kind of hormonal melasma. This is what she says. So you need to look at the patterns, or if you get it around your mouth, that's kind of melasma. So melasma tends to be in certain areas, so you can kind of diagnose what type of hyperpigmentation you have. And the reason she talks about this and about why it's good to work out what type of hyperpigmentation you have is because different types of hyperpigmentation need to be treated in particular ways. So obviously today I'm talking about melasma. You can just have freckles because you've got freckles in the family. You can have pigmentation that's caused by damage to the skin. Now this one here is actually caused by damage to the skin, because I had something up here, a skin tag, and I tried to remove it with tea tree oil, and I used a little bit too much and it burnt my skin. It got rid of the tag, but it burnt my skin in the process. So that pigmentation there is to do with an injury, which is slightly different. But this pigmentation here was definitely around my pregnancy, and you can also get pigmentation as you age. And I've noticed sort of around my head getting more kind of pigmentation around the head area as I age. So with that, I just wanted to talk through, there are loads of products on the market, and it's kind of overwhelming because they all promise to brighten the skin. Some of them claim to get rid of brown spots. And it can be a bit relentless in that you throw money at it and things just don't work. I spent a long time trying different things that basically promise to get rid of brown spots. And I do like before and after pictures. I always do that when I start a particular regime. And it didn't do a thing. It just, you know, I used it for a month, used it for 2 months, used it religiously every day, and didn't make a difference whatsoever to my skin tone. But I'm going to tell you the things that I do think have made a difference for me. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you, because you have different causes. But I'm also going to talk you through why I like the products as well. And then maybe touch on the makeup. So as you all know, I talked to you about the FOREO device. Now, I definitely noticed a difference in my hyperpigmentation. I haven't been using this as regularly as I did when I started using it. And I've noticed it's creeping back in a little bit. So if you're looking at me and thinking, it's not as good as it was, Ali, that's probably why. Because I kind of got all enthusiastic, used it for 6 to 8 weeks while I was doing the kind of testing for you guys, and then kind of went a little less mad with it. So I definitely need to use that again. But what I would definitely recommend is, if you do get the FOREO device and you're using it for hyperpigmentation, I would definitely get the Glow Addict mask. And the reason I would get the Glow Addict mask is, yes, it's got some brightening ingredients. It's got niacinimide in, which I'm going to talk about, is as I've found has really helped me. It's got jojoba oil, it's got some lovely ingredients, but even more than that, even more than the ingredients, get at least one packet for the program, because once you scanned in that program to your device, you will have green LED light therapy, and that is what I've noticed has made a massive difference to my hyperpigmentation if used regularly. And when you stop, it can kind of start to regress a little bit, as I think mine is a bit at the moment. Okay, so that's the FOREO mask. Now, another thing I tried before the FOREO mask was something called microneedling. And I got this Lumi roller, and I will show you what it is. So basically the idea, the concept is that this is a roller which has got tiny needles on it, and every you have to look it up. It's I can't cover it all here, and please don't start microneedling until you've done a bit more research about it, because I'm not able to cover it in as much detail as you need before you embark on this. But the idea is that you roll this onto your face, and it causes minor injuries to your face, which sounds horrific. But what it does is it does, you don't actually see those minor injuries, but it kind of tricks your body into thinking you've got an injury, and it needs to provide more collagen to actually repair your skin. So it boosts your collagen, and it just makes your collagen increase, and that's the idea of it. Now, there are different theories about what length of needles that you need, and what length of needle you should start with. And as I've said, I'm not a skincare expert, but from what I've read, this one was a 2.5 millimeter, I think, needle, because I was just starting out and I didn't want to go in and be mad about this and cause myself damage. And from what I've read, when you use very short needles, it doesn't quite have that same reaction. It helps your skincare products get more absorbed into your skin, but it's not deep enough to actually trigger that, uh-oh, I've had an injury, let's boost my collagen, that you actually need to go for longer needles. And I think they say from 0.5 millimeters in order to start that process. Now, I did find that this did, I started to use this, I think I used it, they tell you to use it, to go carefully, and I think I was using it once a week. Don't use it any more often, and please look up. Some people say even less than that, because when you cause an injury to your skin or a little bit of damage, your body needs time to repair that damage. So it's no good thinking, oh, more is actually more, I'll go in every day, because then you're not giving your body time to repair, and all you're doing is constantly causing damage to your skin. But please look up and research it more, because I can't cover it all in as much. Or ask me if you want me to do a video, I'll tell you what I've discovered about it. But I would still suggest that you look up how to do this from an expert, because you are introducing a foreign body under your skin, and the potential for doing harm is great. So don't just listen to me. I did find that it helped me a little bit, and I did notice that my hyperpigmentation reduced slightly. The reason that I stopped using it, and I'm actually going to throw this, is because I got that little thing on my head, and I wasn't sure whether it was a wart. And sometimes I get little warts on my neck. Now, if you've got warts and you start derma rolling with a needle, you're going to spread that around your face, and I could end up with warts everywhere. So, you know, if in doubt, don't use this, because if there's any doubt, you've got warts, you've got any kind of lesions on your skin, do not use this, because you don't know what you're doing to the rest of your skin. you are piercing the skin, you're getting under the skin, and you're spreading it potentially around your face. And that's why I decided it was too much for me. If I was going to do that, I would rather go to a skincare specialist and get it done professionally. Someone that knows exactly what to use, how often to use it, and also what products to use with it. Because some things are good to use after it, and some things could be potentially quite harmful to use after you've just microneedled. Do look into it. Trini, who isn't obviously a skincare expert, but she does do a lot of posts about it. Trini from Trini and Susanna. And she is a great microneedling fan. But it is definitely something worth researching for yourself and seeing if that is something that might be helpful for you. But I've kind of moved away from that. So there are all sorts of aspects to hyperpigmentation, right? But the first thing I think you need to do is microdermabrasion. Sorry, the first thing you need to do is hyperpigmentation is very stubborn. Once it's there, it's very difficult to get rid of. So I think the very first thing that you need to do when you want to tackle hyperpigmentation is to stop it getting worse. And the only way that you can stop it getting worse, and the very effective way you can stop it getting worse, is by sun protection. And sun protection all year round, whether you're going out or not, throughout the day. Now I've used two things of sun protection. I've used some before, and I've worked my way through. Now, some of you will know that I've used the IT Cosmetics CC cream, which is SPF of 50. I don't tend to use that on its own and think, that's all right now, I'm covered, I've put that on. Because I don't think that you use enough foundation on your skin to give you enough protection. So, you know, when you're putting sunscreen on, if you note how much you should be putting on your skin, you are putting a lot more on your skin than you are foundation. And if you were to put that amount of foundation on your skin, it's going to look really, really like you've got too much makeup on, and cakey. So I do tend to use sunscreen as well, even if I use a foundation with SPF in it. And there's two that I've used, and I fluctuate between the two. Sorry, two that I'm using at the moment. And these are kind of the ones that I've figured are the best ones for me. So the one of them that I use is HelioCare 360. I like that. It's got lots of antioxidants in it. I like the smell, although not everybody does. I like the fact that it adjusts to your skin tone. So it doesn't give you kind of that white hue that you get from sunscreens. And it doesn't irritate my skin. And it also moisturizes my skin quite well. It makes me look quite glowy. And I just like it. It's a very good SPF. And a lot of people recommend that as a good sunscreen. So that is called HelioCare 360. It's the fluid cream. It comes in different formats. I think you can get a mousse, you can get a thicker cream, you can get it in all sorts of different formats, depending on what type of skin you have. So if you've got oily skin, there is another one that is not, that is more of a lotion, that is not going to be as creamy. It's not going to give you as much of that kind of moisture, that oil. So definitely worth looking at as a brand. And it's a broad spectrum UVB, UVA, SPF 50 plus. Okay. The other one that I've been trying is this mineral sunscreen from The Ordinary, which is SPF 30 with antioxidants, but it's a mineral sunscreen, and what it has in it is zinc oxide. Now, the reason I bought this is because I watched Dr. Sam Bunting, and she said that for people with hyperpigmentation, it's good to get a sunscreen with zinc oxide in it, because it actually filters out natural light as well as UVA and UVB. And we're very sensitive to all kinds of light when you have hyperpigmentation. So now I like this in that of what I've heard from Dr. Sam Bunting. The only reason I don't like this is because even though it does filter out all that light and you can see it, it leaves you with a white hue on your skin. So what I find is that when I put it on, I don't know if you can see that, but when I put it on, I'm going to put it on now actually, I have to put on more makeup to compensate for the fact that I have got this white hue. I tend to put about that much on. So if you see that, I wouldn't put that amount of foundation on by any means. That is more than a fingertip amount. And I'll dot it like that so that I get even coverage. And on it goes. And I'll make sure I go under my eyes like so. Now, can you see what I mean about the white hue? I mean, at the moment, I look absolutely white. And it will settle down, but it definitely leaves you looking pale. But that is the zinc oxide, and that will protect you from all kinds of light. It will reflect the light away from your skin. So it is very, very good, but you're kind of forced to put makeup on over that, because I couldn't go out like that now. I would look like I was anemic. So I tend to reach for this other one when I really don't want to be putting a lot of makeup on. It's a higher sun protection. It's SPF 50, and it adjusts to my skin tone. So if I want a more natural look and I don't want to be plastering lots of foundation on, I tend to reach for the Helio Care. Okay, so next, I think I probably will do this in 2 parts, and I'll go on to makeup for hyperpigmentation at some point next week. But next I wanted to move on to some other skincare products that I've been using and why I think they help me. And a few of them have been because they've been recommended to me by Dr. Sam Bunting. Now, here is one called Bioderma. Now, this is actually, it says it's for an intensive night care, but she suggests putting this on in the morning. Now, this actually contains vitamin C alongside all the others, and I've chucked the box out, which is really annoying because it doesn't now tell me what the ingredients are for you. But it's definitely got vitamin C in, and it's got other ingredients in it that are very helpful for your skin. I'm going to have to look up some of the other ingredients, and I might pop in a voiceover here. Okay, I've looked up the ingredients for you. This has got niacinimide in, which you will see is another ingredient that I definitely found helped me. It's got glycolic acid, which will, help strip that top layer of the skin, the sort of dead layer of skin, and it'll help sort of the cell turnover so that you're constantly renewing your skin. The vitamin C, of course, which is very brightening. It's got something called licorice root in, which is also very brightening ingredient. And what Dr. Sam Bunting says is that this is very helpful because these different ingredients work at all sorts of different levels in terms of the cell turnover. So it's sort of helping that top layer, but it's also working underneath that layer and at different stages of that skin renewal. So that's why it's a very effective serum to use. Okay. Okay, so I do like that. Another product, which I forgot to put by my side, so I'll just go and get it. 1 second. Another product that is very helpful, it's very expensive, and I bought a while ago, is DCI Seascape High Potency Night Booster. Now, I don't use this all the time because of the price of it. I think it's quite expensive, but it is very, very effective. And what I tend to use this when I'm noticing that my hyperpigmentation is looking a lot worse and I need to give it a bit of a boost, a bit of a kick back to what it was. So I might actually use this tonight because I've noticed that my hyperpigmentation is looking a bit worse than it was at the end of my FOREO treatment. And it does give me that boost. It's quite powerful. The vitamin C in it is very powerful. I think it's something like 30%. So it is very brightening. And it is very useful. Sometimes I'll just put some on the brown spots and leave the rest of my face. But I think the price point makes it quite difficult to use on a regular basis. It just depends on what your priorities are and whether or not it's, you know, if it's something that really upsets you and you don't mind spending a lot of money on a regular basis, then sure, I think this would be really helpful. But I do think that the price point kind of knocks it out. And the reason that I'm saying that is because it's got some great ingredients, and yes, it works quickly, but you can get vitamin C in high concentrations at a lot lower price. And when the other one that I haven't got by me is by The Ordinary. And The Ordinary actually do a vitamin C powder, which is pure vitamin C that you can mix into your own skincare. So if you feel confident about playing around with that, you can use that. And when you mix that with something like ferulic acid, which they also do, The Ordinary, that I found is just as helpful as using something like this. So if you're not very confident about the ingredients that you want to try or the ones that you found helpful, then yes, definitely this is something, because it will mix it all up for you, and it works. But if you want to think about something you can use that's more affordable on a regular basis, I would definitely have a look at The Ordinary. Ferulic acid and vitamin C mixed together, really helpful, and really brightening. Now, moving on to The Ordinary, azaleic acid. I always call it azaleic acid, and it's not. It's azaleic acid. I found this really helpful on this bit of hyperpigmentation. Now, this was the hyperpigmentation that was caused by an injury, if you remember. And they do recommend it if you've got scarring for acne. So anything that's caused by injury, scarring, the azaleic acid is really, really helpful. I didn't find it was as effective on this, but I did notice, although you can still see where this pigmentation is, I don't know if you remember, but if you look back at previous videos after I had that damage, it was not only pigmented, but it was raised and bumpy where I'd had the damage. And that bumpiness has gone now, it's smooth. So I'm just left with a bit of pigmentation. And I think that this helped to get rid of that bumpiness. So if you've got kind of pitting from acne scars and it's caused pigmentation, I think azaleic acid is really helpful. And I certainly found that it helped me. Now, retinol is one of the skincare products, or ingredients, I should say, that is clinically proven to work. You know, that you can have all sorts of claims. This is clinically proven. They seem to be able to say clinically proven about everything. You know, if they've tested 10 people and they've said, I saw an improvement, they can say something's clinically proven, I think. It seems to be a term that can be used even when there haven't been very stringent tests done on a product, not the sort of tests that you would associate with the word clinically, let's put it that way. And so I'm always a little bit skeptical about something that says it's clinically proven, and I do a little bit more research. But certainly when it comes to retinols are clinically proven to help with anti-aging, and part of aging is that you get more pigmentation in the skin. So I like to use a retinol, and I've used the ordinary retinol, but I switched about 2 months ago to something called Redermic R by La Roche-Posay, because again it was recommended by Dr. Sam Bunting, and I've been using that at night. Now I'm a little bit naughty because I've been putting this on, and then I've been putting Charlotte's night cream over the top. And Charlotte's night cream is supposed to have some retinol in it. And it does say do not use with any other products containing retinol. However, I do. Sorry, probably shouldn't. I haven't had any adverse effects from doing that. I just find that this is great in terms of smoothing out the skin, but I need something a little bit more moisturizing at night, especially in this cheek area. So it gives me the retinol, but it doesn't kind of give me enough moisture. Charlotte's night cream has been a staple for the last 2.5 years. And when I don't use it, I notice a big difference. And that has got some retinol in it. I definitely would recommend that. I recommend that you try it. I wouldn't recommend buying it because it's expensive. To try and find out that it doesn't work for you. But she does do the travel sizes now, and you can get the samples from her website. And I found that really was, I don't know whether it's done anything for my pigmentation, but it's certainly helped with fine lines and smoothness of the skin. And I definitely notice when I don't use it. So that tends to be a staple. So I used this at night, and I used Charlotte's Magic Night Cream over the top. And I also have the Redermic R for eyes, which is a little bit more gentle just because you're going near your eyes. Retinol can be an irritant to the eyes. So, you know what I think about eye creams, and that we don't necessarily need them. But when it comes to putting retinol near your eyes, I think you need to be careful. So I did get the eye one because the retinol is a little less powerful, I think. And basically, it should be, in theory, I might be wrong about this, but I think the fact that they're selling it for eyes, it's going to be safer to put near my eyes. And that might be my naivety. I've not done enough research, I admit that. But, so I've got those two, and I've been using them, as you can see. I found those. Now, one thing I started very recently, just to finish off, which I have really found I like. I can immediately say I like, even though I haven't been using it yet for 6 to 8 weeks. And that's a point that I need to make, is that when you're working on trying to reduce hyperpigmentation, you really shouldn't expect to see a massive difference until about 6 to 8 weeks. Because of the way that the skin sheds and turns over. And if you remember, you've had that pigmentation for a long time, it's not going to go overnight. So you really need to kind of be consistent, try something out, and keep trying it regularly for 6 to 8 weeks before you can dismiss whether or not it works or whether it's helping you. And I think we all get a bit impatient because we want it all gone tomorrow. But that is important. Now, the reason that I'm recommending this is Niod Pigment, Repigment. And I've been using this for less than 8 weeks. But I'm going to say the reason that I recommend this, there's a number of ingredients that are supposed to actively work on pigmentation on different levels, which is something that Dr. Sam Bunting talks about in her video. The reason I like this is a lot of things that treat hyperpigmentation, like, for example, this, which is the Bioderma White Objective, or this, which is the DCI vitamin C, is that a lot of these products, you can feel they're very tingly. They're very powerful ingredients like vitamin C. You can feel they're very powerful. When you first start using them, they tingle. They make the skin feel a bit uncomfortable. And they tell you, please don't go out without sunscreen when you're using these things. So they're quite powerful ingredients that you're putting on your skin. And they're dealing with the hyperpigmentation, but they don't necessarily make you feel like you have got moisture, you're adding moisture to your skin, or that you're dealing with the pigmentation, but you're not dealing with maybe fine lines and wrinkles or dryness on your skin. You're just dealing with the pigmentation, which is probably why I find that I need to put Charlotte's night cream over the top of this. What I like about this serum is that it does have, I think it's got hyaluronic acid in it, but it's got some nice oils in there. I really should have read up on what let me just see on here. It's got some nice oils in here, and it feels very moisturizing on the skin. It doesn't feel like I'm putting some harsh serum that's just tackling and sort of like an acid that's going to rid me of pigmentation. It feels comfortable on the skin. It feels moisturizing, and I don't find that with a lot of products that I use for pigmentation. I find that they're working on certain level on my pigmentation, but I have to use something else to make my skin feel soft. Whereas with this, I don't. I feel that this is actually tackling that smoothness of my skin. It's making me feel like I've put a serum on that has also moisturized my skin, and I like the feel of it. Now, just looking at the ingredients, because I've got the box here, it's got glycerin in it. It's got, I think it's got azaleic acid from what I can make out of this. It's got lots of peptides in, which is why it feels very comfortable on my skin. So peptides are very good for anti-aging and feeling moisture in your skin. So, I mean, I can't read all these names because I'm not a skincare expert. I have to look them up like everyone else. But my experience is that I feel like I'm doing something moisturizing and pampering, as well as just tackling my pigmentation, and that's called Repigment. And I managed to get that half price after Christmas from somewhere called Victoria Health, which they specialize in all sorts of natural remedies, vitamins and skincare. Definitely worth a look, because there's a lot of articles on there as well, and they're very helpful if you contact customer services about what is suitable for you, and helped me with picking a multivitamin. As I'm on very high doses of vitamin D, I didn't want to overdose, and they sent me some recommendations, so I definitely recommend those. Now you can see I've still got a little bit of a white hue, but it's not as bad as when I applied it. And now I am ready to apply my makeup. So I'm off now to do a makeup video, but I will continue this, and I will do a video about makeup for hyperpigmentation, probably next week now, and we'll take it from there. If you have any questions, if there's something I haven't covered, or you want to find out whether I've tried something and how it worked for me, please leave a comment below. And I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Sorry, lots of chatting. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye now. One thing I did forget to say, I wanted to come back and say, is that I started using the Dr. Dennis Gross eye mask, as some of you will know. And I've only been using it for less than a week. It claims to help pigmentation around the eye area. I think it's too soon to say anything, so I've not included that in today's video, but I will be doing an update after 6 to 8 weeks of use to tell you whether or not I think it's actually helped in all sorts of areas, fine lines and wrinkles and pigmentation. So stay tuned for that in about 6 to 8 weeks time. Okay, bye now.